And we continue at 1:06 in the afternoon on the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wang's in Culver City.
Well, Johnny, I found the clip. It's from April 8th of this year. Here is Imelda Padilla showing some love for Barbara Ferrer.
Also, to Dr. Barbara Ferrer.
Not a doctor.
The fake doctor.
Next slide.
She is not an MD, even though she wears a white lab coat.
Yeah.
Like Dr. Frankenstein.
Also, to Dr. Barbara Ferrer, it's very nice to see you again. I was still at the county myself when the pandemic first hit. And I always said, if we would have listened to the woman in charge.
Because we didn't listen to her?
She ruled us with an iron fist.
And she's acting as if the woman was ignored by the Board of Supervisors?
If we would have listened to the woman in charge, the woman expert, we probably...
Expert? She's not a doctor.
She has a PhD in social welfare, not an MD.
Next slide.
We probably wouldn't have had those humps go in the summer.
Oh, yes. Had you listened to the good doctor, you wouldn't have a hump.
Is she talking about when Barbara Ferrer was trying to bring back the mask mandate? Is that what she's talking about?
That was the one thing that she lost, and that was only because the rest of us all got together and said we're not going to take it anymore.
That's when he went on Fox 11 and talked about the broom.
That's right.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of the men that were in charge at the time that insisted the expert doctor didn't know what she was talking about.
Not an expert, not a doctor.
No, and the Board of Supervisors consists of 5 women.
I saw that. I watched that. And I just want to let you know that I will have your back always for your expertise, Dr. Ferrer. So
Who is she talking about? There is no man in charge.
Dr. Ferrer. So thank you for all of the work that you do. You really kept our community and, having true conversations of what it means to focus on the public health.
Wait a minute. She shut off the ability to interact with her on social media. There were no conversations. It was a one-way conversation.
Imelda Padilla definitely isn't the worst member of the LA City Council. That one's usually a toss-up between Nithya, Hugo, and Ulysses. But I think Imelda Padilla might be the dumbest member of the LA City Council.
Broken windy theory.
There's a caller topic on a slow day.
Go back to the portion where she's talking about the male naysayers. I think she might be talking about me.
And, and I always said, if we would have listened to the woman in charge, the woman expert, we probably wouldn't have had those humps go in the summer. But it was a lot of the men that were in charge at the time that insisted the expert doctor didn't know what she was talking about.
She didn't.
Okay, that has to be me. Because remember when I went on TV that one time, I said she's not qualified to make these decisions. She's a social worker. And I believe the exact phrase was, the only thing that she's qualified to do is take a look at a guy with tattoos on his face and a needle in his arm and say, you get custody of the kids.
It was a great line.
I saw that. I watched that. And I just want to let you know that I will have your back always for your expertise.
She's talking about that interview.
I think so. I don't necessarily think it's anything I said on the radio. I think it was the one TV hit because they played that all over the place on social media after I did it. And that had to get on her radar. Because I can't think of any other man who said that she wasn't qualified and that we shouldn't pay attention to her other than me.
In 2022, it was 5 women on that LA City Council. On that LA County Board of Supervisors. Now, Johnny, since we've given Imelda all this attention, feels like it's time to do the pledge, huh?
All rise.
Mr. President, today's Tuesday. It's time for the flag salute.
Wonderful. If everyone could please rise for the flag salute. Councilwoman Padilla, would you please lead us in the flag salute?
Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with justice
and justice for all. Great, thank you.
800-222-5222 is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. All right. There's something I've learned after spending a career in broadcasting, and that is this. If you are someone who makes your living doing parody, specifically doing a parody of one person or one type of person, at a certain point, you become that person you are satirizing. For example, the stand-up comic Andrew Dice Clay, who has been doing stand-up comedy for a very long time, very successful comedian. Now he's transitioned into becoming an actor, and he's a pretty successful actor too. But when he started out his stand-up comedy career, he was doing a parody of a dirty club comic. That wasn't who he was. It was a parody of a type of person who was performing in those comedy clubs at that time. And his act took off like a rocket ship. He became a very popular comedian. He became iconic as a dirty club comic. And over time, he just kind of became that person. Even when he would do interviews on the talk shows, call into the radio programs, those sorts of things, he was the dirty club comic. He became that guy. When Stephen Colbert first started out as a talk show host on Comedy Central, he hosted the Colbert Report. And he was a parody of a cable news blowhard, where he would talk about the news in a very over-the-top kind of way. At a certain point, he just became that person. And that was the act. And now we're seeing Gavin Newsom do what he would regard as a parody of Donald Trump. Whether it's on social media, whether it's in media appearances, whether he's appearing before live audiences, whatever the case may be, he's doing a parody of Donald Trump. But I think over time, what he's done is internalize it. Because if you look at his polling numbers in the Democratic primary for president, the moment he started to mimic Donald Trump, his numbers in that primary started to go up. And he realized there was no reason for him to stop doing what he was doing because it was working.
He keeps getting positive reinforcement for it.
So after the rhetoric of the tweets and the speaking style and the phraseology and the vocabulary and all of those things had been copied.
Don't forget the store. He's selling hats now that say Newsom was right about everything.
There you go. And now Gavin Newsom says that he's going to send the CHP into different communities, different cities in California because they're not safe. Mind you, 10 minutes ago, they were telling us that if you were smart enough to understand the stats, you would understand that crime is going down all over the state of California, and it's Montana where all the violence is. And now he's done a 180 on that, and he wants to send the troops in, so to speak.
And what made this press announcement different is usually Gavin Newsom does these in a specific part of the Capitol. But Gavin Newsom, for the first time ever, held a press conference from his office at the state capitol, almost like he's trying to mimic and imitate what an Oval Office press conference would look like.
Now, what's funny is when not Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's campaigning up and down the state against Gavin's initiative. When the President Trump decided to put the troops into Washington, D.C. to get that city under control, which happened almost immediately, he was called racist for doing that. Now that Gavin Newsom is doing the exact same thing in California, he's saying he's doing it out of compassion. When Trump does it, it's bad. When Newsom does the same thing, it's good. You follow the logic?
Let's hear about Gavin's announcement through a woman that was in the room, KCRA 3's Ashley Zavala.
Tonight, Governor Gavin Newsom is ramping up the state's law enforcement presence in cities across California, including in Sacramento and the Central Valley. It comes days
and Los Angeles and more in Oakland and San Diego.
He's sending them all over.
It comes days after the president announced he's doing something similar with federal law enforcement in cities across the country.
KCRA 3 Capitol correspondent Ashley Zavala explains why the governor says he's taking this latest action.
This is the latest move by Governor Gavin Newsom in which he either mirrors or mimics President Donald Trump. The governor, though, adamant that this announcement specifically is not in response to the president.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
So when he puts out totally insane tweets and inappropriate tweets, he says, I'm only joking. I'm only doing satire. But then when he mimics the public policy, he goes, oh, no, this is for real. This isn't satire.
No, I've been doing this all along. Where have you been?
Reporters on Thursday shuffled into an unusual spot for Governor Newsom's press conference, his office.
Thanks, everybody, for taking the time to be here.
Journalists crammed together in front of his desk, similar to an image you'd see from President Trump's Oval Office.
Then we're going to be expanding this operation.
The governor announcing he's stepping up the state's law enforcement presence in major cities across California to crack down on crime.
Tough on crime, Gavin.
You do realize what this is. This is the 6th or 7th boy band that came after the Backstreet Boys that has the idea that they're going to sell out the Forum.
Don't you talk bad about my 98 Degrees.
This is the group that's mimicking O-Town.
Days after President Donald Trump said he'd do something similar with federal officers in cities across the country.
So we're not reacting.
By the way, this is win-win. We're getting more cops in the cities that need them. Great. Keep it up.
At this point, we know that it works. So I'm glad that Gavin's copying Donald Trump because what Trump did worked.
So we're not reacting, responding to anything, quite the contrary.
The governor said it's to build on public safety work his administration has been doing since he took office. But the announcement and the setting, the latest that appeared to taunt the president and Republicans.
Just look at the murder.
By the way, this is working for him. He's getting nonstop coverage on his favorite channel now because of this.
Oh, he loves the attention. He's eating it up with a spoon.
Just look at the murder rate. That's nearly 4 times higher than California's.
Oh, yeah, he's got little props now where it says that Shreveport has a higher murder rate than San Francisco.
Okay, but here's what he's doing, though. And he did that with Shreveport. I think he did it with Jackson, Mississippi, New Orleans, a couple other cities.
He did say, when is Trump sending the troops to Mississippi?
Who does he think is the mayor of these towns? It's not the governor that has control over the local police force. It's the mayors. What he's doing is torching a bunch of Southern Democratic politicians. And don't forget, one of the first states to vote, although the Democrats haven't come up with their specific calendar for 2028 yet, but typically one of the first states to vote is South Carolina. And he is going down one by one and torching every black Democrat Southern mayor he can think of. Good luck getting those endorsements.
Although I think the mayor of Shreveport is a Republican.
Oh, is he? But you look at those big southern cities, whether it is New Orleans, Atlanta, whatever, they're all Democrats with few exceptions.
In Louisiana.
It comes as Newsom has been mocking the president on social media.
He didn't even mention a city in Arkansas. He just said Arkansas.
It comes as Newsom has been mocking the president on social media, and his campaign launched a new online store that sells Trump-themed merchandise.
And by the way, they sold out.
Well, how many did they have in stock?
He says 100,000. They even had Gavin Bibles.
I wonder if he stole those Bibles from the hotel rooms he went to the no-tell motel with the campaign manager's wife.
Governor, you've talked about putting the mirror up to the Trump administration.
I asked if this is all connected.
We've been at this, as you know. We've been to all these events for months and months. And I think we kicked this off with the AG, a few years back. And to build on what we're doing, yes, to extend that narrative, to expand our successful programs, to acknowledge we have work to do, not suggesting otherwise. but also acknowledge that this country needs to wake up to what's going on, and not just the authoritarian tendencies, but the authoritarian actions by this president. This cannot be normalized. And yes, so I'm highlighting some just blatant hypocrisy. Yes, we're putting a mirror up to the lunacy that is Trump's tweets and his grift.
I think he's just...
Oh, Gavin's coming out with a Gavin coin.
Okay, so let me try to follow that logic. So he believes that when Trump does it, it's authoritarian. But then when he does it, he's been doing this for a long time, so it's part of his character. But he is holding up a mirror to Trump.
He says he's doing it in collaboration with cities, where the federal government is just coming on in and militarizing the city.
But he's still sending state troops in that work for him.
Yep. Including to cities that didn't ask for them, like L.A.
I think he just wakes up every day to try to figure out how he can wiggle his way in to become the president of the United States.
Republican State Senator Tony Strickland said Newsom is too focused on national issues. He said
it's working for him. You know, I listened to that entire hour interview that he did where he sat down and steamrolled the guy from Politico. He did not get asked one question about the state of California.
No, and there's really no point to even do it because he has moved on. He could care less what happens here. He is focused on winning the Democratic primary. And if you think about it, the clock is ticking for him louder than it is for some of those other candidates because he turns into a pumpkin in 2026. He turns out. He won't be a current somebody. He'll be a former somebody. And many of his rivals will be currently in elected office. So in theory, they'll be in the news all the time for legitimate reasons. He's got to get all the juice out of the squeeze right now.
He said before making this announcement, the governor should have fully funded Proposition 36, approved to crack down on repeat thieves and drug dealers.
We don't want repeat offenders. We want money for probation and accountability, and that's what he doesn't have in this program.
It's not clear how soon or in which ways specifically Californians could see this ramped up presence of California Highway Patrol officers. They did say, though, that those teams are being assembled now. Reporting at the state capitol, Ashley Zavala, KCRA 3 News.
Well, we reached out to the president and the White House for comment on this story, but we have yet to hear back.
So there you go. That's the latest on Gavin Newsom's presser from his office announcing a surge in the CHP in dangerous cities in California.
California Governor Gavin Newsom says that when Trump sends troops into cities to keep those cities safe, that's bad. But when he does it, it's good, in part because the cities are begging him for help. Which leads to the question, Randy, how about Los Angeles?
Los Angeles is getting a surge of CHP, but did Karen Bass ask for it? That question was asked by NBC4 and Eric Leonard. Let's go.
Now to Governor Newsom ramping up the presence of state law enforcement in major cities throughout California, including L.A. Good afternoon, everyone.
Maybe that daytime gang shooting got the attention of Gavin.
Well, he does like to watch the news at night.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Colleen Williams.
And I'm Robert Kovasek. Michael is off today. This is an expansion of a program from the Bay Area. Highway patrol officers were sent there to focus on organized retail theft.
And all the car stealing and bipping and everything else that went on the Hagenberger.
Even the DA got bipped several times.
I've been bipped several times.
Hagenberger. And stolen cars.
Our investigative reporter Eric Leonard joins us live from the...
By the way, CHP should have been here all along. This is the stolen car capital. How many high-speed chases are because of a Grand Theft Auto every single day in L.A.?
But Gavin used to say if you were smart enough to understand the stats, crime is actually going down.
Our investigative reporter Eric Leonard joins us live from the newsroom right now with more on why this is happening. Eric.
Hi, Colleen and Robert. Well, the governor says these CHP crime suppression teams have already produced significant results in Northern California. And he says that's why he's expanding into Southern California, also into the Central Valley. Well, LA's mayor says she welcomes this aid, but...
They've done a lot of work in Bakersfield, and now they're moving to Fresno.
Well, LA's mayor says she welcomes this aid, but we've asked around, and it's not clear whether LA asked for help.
Building on this. Well, the last person that's going to ask for more law enforcement is Karen Bass.
No, for whatever reason, these mayors, with the exception of San Jose and now potentially San Francisco, these mayors all say we've got everything under control. We don't need any extra help because crime is actually going down and our cities are safe. In fact, they're at historic rates in terms of low crime.
You know what's interesting is at the press conference, Gavin Newsom shouted out that originally this idea, when it first started, it was pitched by Brooke Jenkins, the DA of San Francisco that took over for Chesa Boudin, when she saw that SFPD was outnumbered when it came to all of the illegal drug activity that was going on in the Tenderloin. And that's when Gavin brought in the CHP and the National Guard to San Francisco.
Well, just take one category of crime. Take street takeovers. What do the police always say anytime there's a street takeover? When they are being criticized for not showing up sooner and not making more arrests.
We're outnumbered.
We're outnumbered, and we couldn't do anything about it. And these same people then turn around and tell us everything's under control. There's no crime here.
Building on the success of this proven program, we're now expanding it to 3 additional areas in the state, notably L.A., San Diego, and other parts.
What the hell happened to San Diego?
I'll tell you, they elected one bad mayor, Todd Gloria, and that city went to hell almost immediately.
It's a few other people you can blame as well. One specifically.
That's true.
In other parts of the Central Valley.
At a Sacramento news conference, the governor, flanked by other state law enforcement leaders, announced that CHP officers would head to Los Angeles and other cities to work on crime suppression by assisting local police. In the last few years, CHP officers in task forces like this one have made thousands of arrests, found hundreds of stolen cars, and seized lots of illegal guns as they pursued organized retail theft gangs in San Francisco, car thieves in Oakland, and targeted those behind and participating in street takeovers.
Yes, we need this in L.A. We need this now.
We need it in all the big cities in California because it's not just a Los Angeles problem or an Oakland problem. How often do we hear about these stories in other cities, San Francisco, San Jose, whatever?
Well, and specifically, they may say they're doing something about street takeovers, and I think they've had success in places like Bakersfield, but the CHP doesn't even have enough officers to deal with the street takeovers in Oakland.
That's true.
Which are also a problem in L.A. that's proven difficult for police to prevent despite significant efforts.
These operations will be targeted. They'll be data-driven. They'll be focused on the basis of intelligence gathering that's coming from different law enforcement agencies.
It's not clear what they'll do in L.A., where the mayor said last month.
You know what can be great about this is if the LAPD have intelligence on something that they know Karen Bass doesn't want them doing anything about, they can call in the CHP because they answer to Gavin and not to Karen.
Well, and how insulting is this? This guy has been governor for 1.5 terms, and he never cared about any of this until he decided he wanted to run for president, and this was going to be his Achilles heel in a Democratic primary.
He claims he's been doing this for years. I mean, he did send in the National Guard to San Francisco, 2 years ago? 3?
But it was a publicity stunt. He did it for a short period of time and then pulled them out. And the reason that he did that was he was campaigning for Grampy Joe in South Carolina, and the In-N-Out Burger got shut down on the Hagen Burger, and that's all he was being asked about, and he was furious.
Hagen Burger.
It's not clear what they'll do in L.A., where the mayor said last month the city was experiencing some of the lowest rates of violent and property crime in generations.
Is that still true after the 3 days in a row of gang shootings?
That is the official position of the mayor in the city. There's no crime in L.A.
Mayor Karen Bass said in a statement today, "We look forward to working with CHP to identify the best use of these additional resources to support ongoing local law enforcement efforts." The LAPD has shrunk in recent years, now employing fewer than 8,800 officers.
It's the lowest level of cops in 30 years.
Didn't Villaraigosa run on the platform decades ago of getting 10,000 sworn officers on the force?
He also ran on the platform of planting 1 million trees.
Was he successful at either one?
No.
The CHP has had about 40 officers assigned to patrol and guard the Palisades fire burn area for months, and some law enforcement officials said it's possible those will be the officers who will move to this new assignment. Newsom was asked if the announcement today had anything to do with President Donald Trump's discussion of sending the National Guard and federal agents to Chicago and other major cities. The governor said no.
We're not reacting, responding to anything, quite the contrary. With one caveat, the community wants to see more, and we are trying to be responsive to the people we serve.
The LAPD told us in a
good governance here.
What's crazy to me is that no one's willing to criticize anyone else by name. He is saying, whether he acknowledges it or not, that what the mayor of L.A. is telling you is a lie. That crime is not going down in L.A. We are not as safe as we were in the 1950s. None of that is true. Crime is running rampant, and they need more help because the city doesn't have control of their criminals. What he's saying is that the mayor of Los Angeles is not being honest with you. But he won't say the mayor of L.A. is lying to you, and I need to step in and do the job that she refuses to do. And then she turns around and says, crime is dropping like a stone in Los Angeles. We're at historic low crime rates. But if the governor wants to give us some help, we'll take in some help and we'll figure out something for them to do. They're talking past each other, and they're taking two totally different positions, but they won't go into direct conflict with each other. It's wild.
The LAPD told us in a statement today it'll work with the CHP to figure out how and where to use these officers. But again, no specifics on when they'll arrive or what they'll do. Live in the newsroom, I'm investigative reporter Eric Leonard, NBC4 News. Back to you.
Well, and John, you'll find this interesting. At the press conference inside Gavin Newsom's office, which is the first time he's ever done that, so it could look presidential, he was asked, why are you sending in the CHP to cities that claim crime is down?
Good question.
I have a question to your point about crime rates going down in some of these communities that you're deploying additional resources into. That's been an argument when it comes to where Trump has been deploying the National Guard in places where crime rates are actually going down, like places like D.C. So how can you justify that? What's the reason for putting more resources and more law enforcement on the streets where communities might be seeing decreasing crime rates?
Well, because, as I said, good enough never is. A decrease is not, I think, look, and this is more my own observation. This is not.
Did he just reset?
I think he did.
I think, look,
someone had to do a Control-Alt-Delete on Gavin.
I think, look, and this is more my own observation. This is not. This is more of a tone.
Boy, this is a weird one. Nom, nom, nom.
Well, he knows what he's saying makes no sense.
Wait, is that Gavin's voice or is that his tummy? Did he have lunch?
I think that's a voice.
This is more of a tonal observation. I don't think it's a very good argument to make that, well, we're down 15, 20% when you still have people whose cars are broken into. You still have crimes being committed. You still have murders. You still feel unsafe in certain parts of certain communities.
Boy, that would land so much better if he would just call out Karen Bass and Barbara Lee.
Won't do it.
And all across this country. So I think we have to be very careful about that. And I'm not arguing to defend the status quo, quite the contrary. We think we can do better still.
If you listen to those mayors, not only do they say that crime is actually going down, if you understand the stats, their answer is, and it's good enough. That's what they're saying. It's good enough for you. You can't expect a safe community, but you can expect something that's good enough.
It's not a namsy-pamsy thing.
Let's go to Mike in Tahunga. Mike, hello. Mike, are you there, sir?
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, hey, I was just at the city council meeting where Imelda Padilla, for the second meeting that I've been to, took a pounding. It was glorious. Like 90% of the speakers got up and they're opposing her a lot of things, but they're opposing a supplemental homeless village by the only metro stop in Sun Valley, and they want to take over that parking lot with some kind of new homeless village, and they've already put one a few blocks down. So I've never seen people so consistently pissed off. Honestly, it was glorious. You missed a good one.
How does she respond to it?
That's the best part. Well, when I got up to speak, I mentioned to Lee, who actually looks at the public speaker like a human being when they talk. And I mentioned like that we appreciated that because, other people don't do that. And then I went into my Imelda diatribe. But she constantly ignores. She looks down. She's on her phone. She might, she might be taking notes, but not always. She completely just ignores the person at the podium, as do most of them, actually.
You remember when she first got elected, she gave the finger to somebody during a council meeting?
She screamed at me. They were doing a protest at Whiteman Airport one time, and I went over there with an elderly pilot. I just wanted to walk him over there because I didn't want him by himself. She came out of that rally like a banshee in our faces, screaming at us, telling us that we're endangering the children. And I said, well, you're a terrible mother. You shouldn't bring children to a rally or a protest. And she just was furious and then just kind of walked away. And that was my first encounter with her. And it seems that is her MO. She just screams and yells at people at meetings.
You know what's funny about her is she's only in her first term. And she was kind of an accidental councilwoman because a scandal knocked the previous councilwoman out. But she already seems like a burned out teacher.
She does indeed. Well, let's hope it's a one-term council person. We need to get rid of all these people. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not being facetious. They got to go because no matter who we put in there, let's say we get one or two great council people in there, they immediately get poisoned. They immediately start voting with those other people. They all say one thing and they do something else. I don't care what they say anymore. I don't believe it. I don't trust them with even $1. They have to go. They're lying every time they open their mouth, and their votes and their actions prove it.
And Randy, you actually live in this council district. And during the election, when you were evaluating the candidates, you said that Imelda was better than the other one.
Well, that's the thing. The other one was a Mike Bonin pick who would have been way worse. But that's the thing. The entire field of candidates was pathetic. And, Mike, you're totally right. As soon as they get on that council, I don't know if it's the bribes or the corruption or what, but they instantly go with the party line.
John, you said something really great about you do every day. I really appreciate you guys. You have no idea. You're my sanity. But you said something a little bit ago that they don't, they talk about crime being down and then they're okay with that. As if, 10 crimes a day went down to 9 and they're satisfied and want us to think that they're doing their job. They got to go. All of them.
Yeah. And it's the same thing with homelessness. If the homeless numbers are down by one person, they're going to declare victory and say they're doing a great job. And you say, well, wait a minute. The homeless problem is still so bad, I can't use the park. I can't use public transit. You can't use the libraries. Certain blocks have encampments that are encroaching in the oncoming traffic. It's not a problem that's solved. It's a problem that is horrific, that is denying me the services that I'm paying for. And they say, whoa, it's down. What we're doing is working. And their point of view is it's good enough for you. It may not be solved. It may not be great, but it's good enough for what you deserve. And they seem to really believe that.
Yeah, they do. They want us to believe it. That's more important. They want us to believe it.
But you watch, and we saw it happen in San Francisco when the Asian Economic Summit happened. When that wasn't good enough for the captains of industry and the titans around the globe, they got rid of all the homeless. When the Olympics come to Los Angeles, they will figure out a way to make them disappear. Because from their point of view, those people deserve a clean city. We don't deserve it. The people who live here and the people who pay for the services, that we don't deserve. But if you come in town from NBC or some other country to watch some Olympic Games, then you deserve a clean city. It's crazy.